Yo, look, if you're a man and you feel kind of lost right now, you feel kind of confused, give me just a bit of your time real quick, all right? I want to discuss something with you, okay? I want to hear what your thoughts are in the comments too. In Exodus 36, okay? This is a Bible verse. In Exodus 36, I think it's the first part of the verse. It says something along the lines of God called the wise-hearted men. Okay, and I'm not gonna quote the verse because, like I said, I'm not knowledgeable like that. I'll just be honest with you. Okay, I'm not that knowledgeable yet. But at the end of the day, it says in that verse, He called the wise-hearted men. He didn't call necessarily the most knowledgeable. He called the wise-hearted ones. Now, what does that mean? Okay, well, in our current time, we really have to figure out, well, what does wise mean in our current time? Because ultimately doesn't mean the exact same thing as it does now, maybe not, but that's the best that we can infer from it, at least to my knowledge, right? So wise, in my opinion, wise is what it's honestly the difference between the knowledge that you have and the actions that you're taking, right? If you know that you don't want to be fat, and you know that that means you don't need to eat like stupid stuff, right? If you know that, that's knowledge. Knowing is knowledge, right? The wisdom is the action behind that knowledge. Okay, being wise would be following through on that knowledge because you know what your end goal is, despite the fact that you may not want to all the time or whatever. That's what wisdom would be, right? So he said he called the wise-hearted men, not necessarily the ones who always wanted to do it, not necessarily the ones who were the most perfect at it or had the most knowledge of building whatever he was trying to build. I can't recall exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure they were building some kind of sanctuary or something. It said it didn't call them, okay? It called the men who were wise hearted, the ones who had understanding that, look, I may not know what the hell I'm doing, I may not know how to build it, I may not know anything like that, but I understand that the Lord has called me to do it, and I understand that that means I have everything I need, right? So I want to ask you a question, brother. Are you wise? Okay, because a lot of people, they say, "Oh, old people are wise." You don't have to be old to be wise. I would consider myself quite wise, in fact, and I'm not going to say that in an egotistical way. I have a lot to learn, okay? But at the end of the day, I would consider myself quite wise, considering the fact that I'm not really that old. Okay, I'm pretty wise for my age. Okay, just as most of you, I feel are pretty wise as well. Okay, if you've been using the opportunities in your life to grow and learn, you're wise. I would say that with complete confidence, right? So I want to ask you a question, bro. Do you know that you have everything that you need? Because at the end of the day, that's all. That's all that wise meant right there. It meant that they knew at the end of the day, they didn't have all the knowledge necessarily, but they understood. They had an understanding of the fact they didn't need to have all the knowledge. They didn't need to have all the materials. They didn't need to have everything figured out. They just needed to know that God was guiding them in that direction, and they needed to know that they could do it because He was. Okay? If you know God is guiding you in that direction, if you know that God is pushing you to do that thing, to go after that goal, to help that person, to go out of your way and do this, to do that, if you know He's guiding you to do that and you choose not to do it, it means you are unwise. Okay? Because it means you lack understanding in the fact that you don't understand God will give you everything you could possibly need to accomplish what He has sent you to do. Everything. You have no need to worry about where you'll find the money or where you'll find the materials or where you'll find the knowledge. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing that God will send you to do that He will not provide for you to do it. If you don't know that, it's because you're not wise in that area, okay? You can be wise in plenty of areas, okay? You can be wise in discipline in the gym, right? Like, yeah, but I mean, in this certain scenario, are you wise in that way, my guy? Because if you're not, That would be my guide to you and my guide to myself. Okay, I'm not always that wise either. But at the end of the day, just a little thought. Ask yourself that question, bro. If God called you to go and build something, you had no idea what you were doing, would you trust that you would be able to do it regardless, even if you had to sacrifice time and money and all these other things to do it?